Hello and welcome to this video. Now today I will be guiding you through my keyboard shortcuts, my general setup of Alibre, fonts, properties and all that. Now I will also be talking about how I made my TooTallToby's September Leaderboard Challenge entries, and I think it'll be good if I explain everything in the context of that leaderboard entry, right? Because it's a direct application for everything I will be talking about. So let's start with that. Now, first of all, if we go to the leaderboard, you will see that you go to TooTallToby.com/leaderboard, right? Or TooTallToby and then click on the leaderboard in the menus up here. Now, there are three things here that are very important. First of all, it's the rules, right? It's a video about the rules. Second of all, is the drawings. Pretty important to have the drawings. And then it's the video where you comment and link to your video for verification, right? And here is my entry. I managed to do it in an overall time of 3 minutes 40 seconds, right? But right off the bat, right, we need to address something here, because you click on this link for the drawings, you get these three drawings, right? And then you click here saying compete and the clock comes up, right? And the way this works is you click start and you start drawing, and when you're finished with model 1, you click here. This stops, the next one starts. And if I manage to make a model in 6 seconds, I would have one. So one of the rules is that these clocks need to be visible at all times, right, when capturing the video. And by the way, I'm using OBS. You will find tons of tutorials on OBS, plus I'm not an expert in it. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about that in particular. However, as you can imagine, you can capture your display with OBS, right? So you need these things to always be there. So what did I do? So if you hit Control and use the roller on your mouse backwards, you will see that you can zoom out to 30%, right? And then if you just click and drag this tab outwards, it becomes a separate window. This works in Firefox, Chrome, Edge, wherever. Everything I showed you works in every browser. Right? And then I just took it and I put it right on the side here. You can make it, so that every clock is visible. However, here's the problem now, right? If I go ahead and click to make a new part in Alibre, right? Look what happens. The new window comes up and hides the clocks. Okay? So if you want to participate, you need to have a way of these things, these clocks, always being on top. So how did I do that? Well, the way I did it is I downloaded Microsoft Power Toys. Now, what is Microsoft Power Toys? It's a selection of applications that work in Windows and are not included in Windows, because if they were included in Windows, Windows would actually be useful, and they're not actually included in Windows, but you can add them later. So one of the things that these Microsoft Power Toys have is always on top, right? So you can hit the Windows key plus Control plus T, right? And you can make a window stay on top at all times. So what I did is I brought the clocks over here, and then I hit Control, Windows, and T, and I get this blue overlay telling me that this window is now going to be always on top, right? And if you want to test it, if I make a new file, here's the new file, and these clocks are always on top. So that's step one. Now, step two is you need, in these competitions, the competition and the leaderboard, right? You need to switch between materials and units fairly quickly, and unit precision as well, but Alibre handles that beautifully. So there are three materials, aluminum, ABS, plastic, and steel. And there are two unit systems, IPS, which is inch, pounds, and seconds, and mmgs, which is millimeters, grams, and seconds. Seconds does not apply in Alibre. It doesn't have a simulation module, but whatever. So between them, there are six combinations, and by the rules, right, you are allowed to create that documents that you open, right? So Alibre, it doesn't have customizable templates you can start, like Inventor and SolidWorks, but this is allowed, right? You can do that. So I have made 6 documents that are set up according to any combination that might be useful, and I click from them and they start, right? So that's what you're seeing here. Millimeters, grams, seconds, ABS. Inch, pound, seconds, aluminum, right? Okay, so we are now in the inch, pounds, seconds, and aluminum template, and we can start designing. But first, let me show you my keyboard shortcuts, right? And how you can change them and all of that. So you go to File, you go to System Options, and there you go. Here are your keyboard shortcuts, right? And the most important ones are the ones in the sketch environment, right? So let's start off immediately by one of my favorites, right? So when you have a sketch figure, a line, an arc, or whatever, you can right click and convert it to a reference, or if it is already a reference, you can right click and convert it back to a regular figure. Now I have hotkeyed, I've made shortcuts for these two operations, and they help immensely because mainly I don't use the reference sketching menu anymore. I just design a normal line or a normal circle or whatever, and then click on it again and hit X, right? And I believe that speeds up my design process because I have also shortcuts for most of these sketch entities, as you will see below. Now, project to sketch, Shift plus P, that's a default shortcut. This ships with Alibre, right? And you will also see that I've not made a shortcut about everything, right? I've only made shortcuts for the things I use most commonly. And the reason for that is, first of all, it gets too crowded, right? And second of all, uh, it's basically the 80-20 rule. Basically, these are the shortcut keys that help me work, right? Okay, so you'll see. You will also see, funnily enough, let me see if I can find it again. 2D chamfer, 2D fillet. No shortcut keys for these because I rarely use them and I try to avoid them actually. Always do your fill and chamfers in 3D if at all possible. Many reasons for that. We could discuss it on the forum if you want or on a comment below. It's not in the scope of this video. So there you go. So now we're starting to get to the custom shortcut keys. First of all, rectangle by 2 corners. So rectangle by 2 corners is the regular. Can I actually? No, I need to close this. Let's open a sketch. So this is the rectangle by 2 corners, right? It just says rectangle here, but that's what it means, rectangle by 2 corners. This is rectangle by center, and this is rectangle by 3 corners. And the difference of that is that it can have an angle, right? Well, what I've done is I say R for rectangle. I don't remember, I do think that this is a This might actually be a stock one. I think it's not a default one. And then Shift R for the rectangle by center. I use rectangle by center very, very often, right? Very often, because if you then extrude and you also do your first extrude as a mid plane, you basically have the origin planes as symmetry planes, potentially, if there is symmetry, and you can mirror with them, right? So I use that a lot, and Shift R is my main hotkey for that. Rectangle by three corners, Alt Shift R, I use that very rarely. And you will also see that if I use something very often, I don't have a modifier on the shortcut key. So if I use something very often, I want it to be straight, no shifts, no controls, no alts, nothing, right? So this is about the rectangles. Now, arcs. Tangent arc, I don't have a hotkey for that. I very rarely use it. Circular arc, that's the normal one where you click on 3 points and you get it. And circular arc with a center, right? Shift A. That's also very important because if you already have a circular shape and you want to make an arc that's concentric to that, you need this particular arc, and I have hotkeyed that. Very, very useful as well. For the circle, C, right? You will also see that I try to have it as much as possible, the hotkey being the first letter of the thing it does. A lot easier to remember. So circle is C, first letter, line is L, the first letter, dimension, D, that's a default one, by the way. And now these two, right? I really love these two. They help me immensely. I use them all the time. So for the vertical constraint, Shift plus V, and for the horizontal, Shift plus H, right? And now the other ones, intersection constraint. Nope, not hotkeyed. I rarely use it, to be honest. Symmetric constraint. No hotkeys either, because if I need something like that, most of the time I'll mirror it and it adds that automatically, so I don't need it. Co-radial, no. So this is a very useful one though, concentric, right? And I've made it an O. The reason for that is this is the concentric constraint. It does look like an O, right? Kind of looks like it. Plus in Greek, this is the first letter of the word, so I can remember it like that. Coincident constraint, Q. I remember it. Midline constraint is M. Equal constraint, it says here OEM plus whatever. It's the plus key. It's just the plus key that you find next to the numbers over your letter keyboard, not the one that you might find in your numeric pad. Right? So regular old equal key. Tangent constraint is T, right? And then the rest, perpendicular, parallel, whatever, I don't use any. Now this is a huge one. This is a huge time saver because although there was a shortcut key there, but simple S, just hit S for sketch and you're off to the races sketching, right? Simple S, use it all the time. There you go. So these are my sketch short keys, and then the next one that is very, very useful is the features. So when we say features, we mean extrude, revolve, all of these things are called features, right? So very, very useful. Now, these two, these two were the other way around in the default shortcuts, right? If you hit, generate to last feature means it doesn't regenerate the features before what you're actually working with. And regenerate all features just regenerates everything here on the Design Explorer. They were the other way around, but I use this more often. So I made it the one that doesn't have the modifier, right? Easier on my fingers, less arthritis, I guess. So I turned these around. Now fillet, F, makes sense. Hole H, again, makes sense. Extrude cut. Where's my original extrude? Anyway, yeah, there it is, extrude boss. Okay, so I'm using this convention with features wherever I can. You will see that in Alibre in particular, these are the only ones that do have hotkeys. So the thing here is E, extrude, adds material, Shift E, subtracts material, right? So that's how that works. Not too many of them here, but again, I am only putting shortcuts for the things I use the most often, right? Okay, system options. Yeah, these are mostly standard hotkeys. The other thing is, I did this for the competition. Physical properties, just hit I. Inspect, right? It's inspect physical properties, but I remember it. Just I. You hit I and the physical properties come up, and that's it. I haven't changed the rest of them. Control E for the equation editor is fine. And there you go. Now, view, right? Now here, it's probably one of the cheekiest things I've done in my entire setup, right? So view changes everything that is found in this menu, okay? So shaded and all edges, shaded and visible edges, which is the default way of showing things in Alibre. I've assigned it says here D3. Now what that means, oh, right. So what that means is just the number 3, right? The one that's above the letters, just hit 3. It shows up as D for some reason, right? But, whatever. And then I've put shaded on all edges as the number 4. Now, why is this very, very important? Well, because when you show all of the edges, and this also works with wireframe, by the way, but shaded on all edges is easier to understand to get your bearings in complex models. So when you are showing all of the edges, you can also select all of the edges, which is a huge thing because you can select behind the surface for fillets. You can select obscured edges for fillets, chamfers, constraints, and whatever. Okay, so really, really important because this very shortcut key is a keyboard shortcut or hotkey or whatever. This is what allows you to select edges for fillets and chamfers that are behind the current surface, that are obscured. So these two, immensely important. And yeah, the rest I don't think I've changed. Yeah. Now, another one that, helps me a lot, right, is this one, hide selection. Again, I forget what it was, but I just changed it to V. Why V? To be honest, it's the hotkey Fusion had for hiding stuff. I was really, really used to it. So I just brought it over, right? So you're in a assembly. You just click somewhere on the part that you want to hide, an edge, point, face, whatever. Hit V and it's hidden, right? Simple as that. Uh, it was a control something before. I don't remember right now. But again, I don't want to strain my fingers if I don't have to. And then these are my hotkeys, right? This is everything. I don't use anything more than what you just saw. But because these are the things that I use more often, it speeds up my process quite a lot. Uh, in fact, it speeds it up so much that I'm not really bothered to add any more of them, right? Okay, so let's hit S. We're out of the sketch. See? So S, we click on a plane, face, whatever, we start a sketch. S, we're out of it. Really, really easy. Now, let's discuss, right, a couple of strategies, and let's take a peek into the idiosyncrasies of Alibre and how you can use them to your advantage. Now, I will change now, and I will show you an input overlay, right? It'll show my mouse and my keyboard. The problem with this overlay is that it doesn't pick up, at least for now, it doesn't pick up the numeric pad keystrokes. So I might not be as fast now as I was in the other videos because I was using the numeric pad for that. But you will get an idea, right? So first of all, I showed you that to start a sketch, I just hit S. Now, another thing in Alibre is you can click on any sketch tool hotkey, right? We don't have the sketch tools in any of these menus now, but I can click on the hotkey of any sketch tool and then click on a face or plane and it will start the sketch. So I'm hitting Shift R, which is how I started the first part in the leaderboard entry. And as soon as I move my mouse, it says select sketch plane. So if I now hit the XY plane, right? Look at that. Look at my mouse. It's already selected. So I can just go click here, and then I just drag out a bit. Now, this is another very important thing. What I do when I'm normally designing is I click somewhere, then I go and I tell it, well, I need this to be, let's say 5, and I need this to be 4. Okay? And then I would probably also fully define it. So Shift V, we saw that, and click this to be vertical. So that's fully defined. Now, that's all well and good, but in the context of the competition, you do as little as possible, right? You do the bare minimum. So Shift R, click here, and look, you see that as I'm moving my mouse pointer, these numbers are changing. Now here's the cool thing. You need to notice which one is the highlighted with blue. It's usually the horizontal one as you start off. And I hit 5 and then tab, right? So that one became green now. That's locked in. 4, right? And enter. I could have hit tab again, but I don't need to, so I'm not doing it, right? Now, another cool thing, just as we use the sketch tool to start a sketch without these tools being available to us, right? You can also hit a feature hotkey to start that feature whilst in sketch. So now I'm going to hit extrude, and I'm in the extrude command. And in the extrude command, very wisely, the depth is the first thing that's highlighted. So I don't need to select anything. I just hit dot 2, 5, enter, right? And I made my first plate. Now, the idea behind all of that is, and the way you should think about it if you ever attempt the leaderboard is, every time you use your mouse, you're losing time, right? No matter what your mouse is, how good you're with it, I don't care. Typing it is always going to be faster, okay? So if we want to do that again, right, in real time, we would, and you can see in the input overlay, you see when I move the mouse, it works. Now, as an exhibition, let me do the first 2 steps for my video, one after the other, because it shows you the transition, and I think it's useful. So Shift R, I select the XY plane, right? 5, 4 is now a hotkey, so I need to use the numeric pad. Tab 4. Okay, now, right? I don't do tab again. I don't care if this sketch shows me a correct preview. I just hit enter, right? E dot 25, enter. Now what I do? R, right? I hit R again. And because it's a sketch tool command, Alibre immediately switches to asking me for a sketch plane. So now I can just click again, right? If everything goes to plan, I don't even need to move my mouse, just hit the button, and now I'm sketching again, okay? So now I'm sketching, and I go up here, and I draw a rectangle like that, and I do 3, tab, 2, enter, right? And then I go immediately for M, midpoint constraint. And if you put the origin to be the midpoint of this lower line, you're where you need to be, right? So as soon as you click there, you hit E, 1, enter, right? In the drawing, let's hit Control Shift K and hide the sketches. So this height is called to be 1.25. I know I already made this 0.25, so I only need an additional inch to get there, right? And similarly, without moving my mouse, C, click, now I'm creating a circle, right? As soon as I move my mouse, I get that blue highlighted, 1.75, oh, let me do it, 1.75, so you can see the input overlay again, enter, and then Shift V. Now, this is an important one. I click on the center of the circle, and then I click on this line. These two are now vertical. But every time you assign a constraint, right, the last thing you clicked kind of lingers in memory for Alibre. So I want now to dimension this distance, right? So without doing anything else, I hit D, and I don't go and click this and this again. I just need to click this, right? Now, here's another time-saving tip for these dimensions. What you would do if you were normally designing is that you would move your mouse to somewhere where the dimension would be legible, right? To somewhere where you can actually see it. I don't really care about that, so I just hit enter again, and I get the prompt. And this needs to be 1 inch, and I hit enter, and immediately extrude, right? So this needs to be 2 inches from the bottom. I'm already up to 1.25, so I need this to be 0.75, enter. That's it, right? Spend as little time as possible, and now you need to move your mouse. So you click on here, and then I hit H. You will see that I clicked before this dialog popped up. What's amazing, Alibre held the command and put the hole in the correct spot. So now I hit O, concentric, then I click this, and yes, points can be concentric with circles, in Alibre at least, right? And what did I do then? This is a Windows thing, right? So I click in this toolbox, and instead of selecting everything, you know, and hitting escape, oh, now there's a dot left in there and a 1 and whatever, and then doing backspace or whatever. No, what I do, let's go back here. So what I do is I click in here, Control A, hit Control A. This is select everything. It works everywhere in Windows. But now, if I hit dot, as soon as I start typing anything, the selection becomes erased, right? So I kind of skip the erase step. Okay. And then I need to move my mouse, select through all, and then I hit enter, and it is completed. And it's, yeah, I put 2.5 when I should have put 6.25, right? And as soon as that's done, quick move, we don't really care. I select this face, S. Now I hit S, I didn't hit a sketch tool, because I want to click here. I want to get this project to sketch quick menu. So I want to maintain association. I could have skipped actually maintaining association. And no, because then dimensioning would have thrown it off. So maintain association. Now, this little thing was hidden by the clocks. So click maintain association and enter. It'll work. And then L, right? Start the line. And you will see me here slowing down. Why? This is a complex session, right? Errors here cost. So you slow down. When you need to, you slow down. So 1.125. Again, this is not a dimension shown in the print. It's one I calculate. A, 3-point arc, remember that? Again, before I do anything, I just type a dimension and enter. The arc is still selected. Before I do anything, type the dimension and enter. Line. I make sure this is vertical, right? I don't need to give it any dimension. I just make sure that this is vertical. Click and then click on this edge. That's it. Now, I want this to be horizontal, right? So I do Shift H. I click here. But remember what we said, that the last thing that you constrain remains selected. So if I hit D, this pops up. Enter. 1.5. This is now dimension. Okay. I go ahead and put my tangents. The order was very specific, right? And you will see me adjusting this. It's to make sure that this side doesn't throw it off, right? And then as soon as I see that this got registered, hit C immediately, go for the center point, move the mouse a tiny little bit, just enough to get that. 0.5, enter. My sketch is done, so what do I do now? E. Well, in practice, while I was practicing, I saw that this goes the opposite way that it should have. So minus, right, when we put minus dot 2, 5, enter. Right, and straight to the mirror plane, straight to the YZ plane, right? Y, Z, you can see it down here. Straight to the YZ plane. OK, hit I. You saw the hotkey before. Physical properties. Now, I've set my precision to 4. If I needed more, it's really quick to change from here. And calculate. And you're done. So that's the first part. Now, that's everything you need to know about how I did my entries, right? The only one that was a bit different was the ABS part. So let me find it. Yeah, there we go. So it was the ABS part. So Shift R, start. So I'm not going to. So we hit E, 22 millimeters. Did I get that right? I did. Well, what do you know? Again, sorry, Shift R. See, I started with R, Shift R. I can switch it on the fly. 190 times 50, enter, extrude 58 millimeters. Hit here S now, look for the regular polygon. Click somewhere, apply, close. Shift H, make sure any of these 6 lines is horizontal, and then immediately D. Go for the next one, hit it, enter, 110, enter, immediately, extrude 78 millimeters, enter. You see how you get in a rhythm, right? Now here I wanted the holes, and you just throw a line in there. Oh, sorry. You see, you need to click the line first. So let me select that and delete it. Immediately go for the reference line, right? Make sure it's vertical. And here you can do it 2 ways. You can just hit 150 here. What I did in the actual entry is I clicked on the line, hit M, made this the midpoint, and without touching the mouse, right? Touching the mouse loses you time, hit D, enter, 150. and then you go to insert holes, you add a couple of them here, and you give you add everything else that you need to add here, and then click on the surface and H and hit the center. Now that's the wrong hole, but doesn't matter. You just look for the correct dimension, change to the correct hole, through all, enter, and you're done. So, and this is the thing that's different now in this part. It needed these 4 edges filleted. So, F, you start the fillets. You click on the first one because in order for this hotkey to work, where you show all edges, you need to have clicked first in the workspace somewhere, right? And then here's the second one, here's the third one, the fourth one. Okay, this was obscured. And then you go up here, you swipe everything, or you Control A. That was 20 millimeters, and you're good to go. Right? Now, what you need to do is you need to hit Escape to close out of the fillet command. And you can either hit S to start a sketch on this face. Now that I think of it, I should have been faster if I just hit L. Make sure it's vertical, 170, enter. Hit M immediately. Now you don't need anything else here, right? Because you don't need to go and making a rectangle, and no, you don't. You just hit S. This little thing pops up, sketch problem detected. Well, it would have been a sketch problem, but I'm going to use a thin feature, so that works. So I hit Escape and hide this message immediately and go to Extrude Thin. Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm through all, and I don't see a cut now. That means that the 1 millimeter default that is proposing me must be on the wrong side. So I need to go into side 2. I don't need to do anything here. That doesn't bother me. I just go in there and say 8 and enter. Right? Open the physical properties, calculate. There you go. Good to go. That's it. One last thing I wanted to show you is perhaps you saw that. Let me bring something in here. Perhaps you saw that when I need to dimension something, right? Okay, let's make this. So I dimension this. You see now that it says D23 equals that, right? So if I make this 30, if I go in here now, I can see that this is D22. It helps me. That's not in the competition. It's more in my daily use. So I can say D22 plus 5. It'll add the millimeters by itself. You see now that it's showing me the equation. It's not showing me the result now. I can easily understand that this is 35, but it's not showing me the 35 anymore. So how do you get this way of showing dimensions, which I find a lot faster and a lot better to use? So let's get out of the sketch. You go to File, now you go to Properties, and you go here to the dimension, and it's this click, right? Show equations. You click that, and then set current settings as default for everything. You hit Apply, and you're good to go. Now, another thing that's come up, I don't know if it's affecting all of you, but Sketch, if you hit the Sketch Reset view again, right, it gives you the opposite view from that plane. And when I asked for Alibre to give me the back view, the numbers in the equations, in the dimensions, got mirrored, right? Which was really annoying. I'm 100% sure they'll fix it with an update, because this wasn't a thing in V26. But you will see now that this is not happening anymore in my version of Alibre. Why is that? Well, that is because I changed the font. So it turns out it was a problem with the font here. right? So I use this Arial Unicode, and it doesn't have issues anymore. And by the way, you can really uh, do some interesting stuff with your dimensions if you are so inclined, right? Let's open that sketch and see what we did. Yeah. So you can do that if you want, if that helps you work. Um, this has been a long one. I hope you liked it. This is all I have for now. Oh yes, I promised I would show you a little tip that I didn't actually use, and it could have saved me a couple of more seconds. So here it is, right? Let's say we're here, and we're making our last line, 170, hitting M for midpoint, right? Same drill, pin extrude through all 8. Okay. Now I'm not going to hit OK, right? Look at this. I'm getting the preview, but I haven't clicked OK. So I hit I get the physical properties, calculate, and it's correct. So this is amazing. Fusion, sorry. So this is amazing. Alibre calculates, when it's giving you the preview, it's already calculated the mass. It's populated this preview. I don't know if that's the correct word. It's populated it to every aspect of the file. So I don't need to click OK here. That might save me, you know, an extra second or two, but I don't need to click OK. I just hit I, calculate, and I get the correct one. And to prove to you that this works, right? Here's my sketch. Now I cancel the extrude. I hit escape and cancel the extrude. I hit I again. I calculate, and the mass is larger. Right? It didn't cut it, so the mass is larger now. So that's a tip that I didn't use in the leaderboard entry, but you could use it if you go for it yourself. I hope you liked it. If you did, please subscribe, hit the like button. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button. Please comment with any questions, and try the leaderboard for it yourself. You might even be faster than me, and I'd be glad to have someone beat me using my own tricks. So that's it for today.